The essential question in this video is, what is a circle? What is a circle? And I think we all know what a circle looks like, but let's look at the math definition of a circle. A circle is the set of all points which are the same distance from a given point, which we call the center. A circle is a set of all points which are the same distance from a given point, which we call the center. So let's take a look at this, and let's go ahead and graph a circle. So I'd like you to go ahead and plot the center. Let's put the center at +2, -1. So right here on your graph, and let's go ahead and label that as the center. And I'll put the coordinates here is +2, -1. There's our center. And then we need to also know one other measurement. This part of the description that says same distance, that's the radius. The radius of a circle is the distance from the center to every point on the circle. So let's make a point on our circle. We'll go 4 units over, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's take a look at this class. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line from here to here. And that is our radius. So let's go ahead and label that. And in this case, if you look at the length of our radius here, it is 4 units. So we're going to put our radius here is equal to 4 units. Alright, now if I can also go 4 units straight up, and I can put a point there as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the radius goes all the way around the circle. So that's on the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's on the circle. Then go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, that is on the circle. Now do your best now to sketch this circle. I'm going to go ahead and cheat and use a circle drawing tool. And I will do my best to see if I can get that circle to pretty much be on. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Looks pretty good. So sketch it out the best you can. I don't expect you to sketch a perfect circle, but it also can't have flat edges. It should be curved all the way around. So there is the basic understanding of what we need for a circle. We need a center. Where's the center of the circle? And then what's the radius? With those two things, we can graph any circle. Let's take a look at some things on the right side of this page. We'll be talking about different equations. The first thing I want you to write about circle equations are, a circle equation is just another quadratic equation. Just like we've been doing parabolas with quadratic equations, a circle equation is also a quadratic equation. But the difference is, it has an x squared and a y squared. A quadratic equation, so a circle equation, is a quadratic equation that has an x squared and a y squared. And remember, last semester, all of our quadratic equations, which were parabolas, only had an x square. The y value was not squared, but in circles, we have an x squared and a y squared. And here's what a general form of a circle, the equation of a circle, looks like. Here's an example of one. X squared, let's put plus 6x. Here's our y squared plus, let's say, 14x. And we can actually even put a number over here, a constant, and that can be equal to 0. There's what a general form of a circle looks like. Notice it looks a lot like a quadratic for a parabola. It's got an x squared term, which is our a value, it's got a b value, and it's got a c value, but it also has an a value with y in it, and a b value with y in it. This is a mistake. This should be a value y. So it also has an a and a b value with the y variable. So a little bit different than a parabola quadratic. Alright, now here's our problem with the general form. It doesn't tell us anything we need to know about the circle. This does not, and let's put a note here, this does not tell us the center or radius. So if you look at a circle equation in general form, it's hard to figure out from this equation what the center and the radius is, and those are the things you need to know about the circle. The cool part is we have another equation form for circles, and it's called standard form, and it looks like this. This will look a little bit familiar to you. X minus h squared, that looks a lot like a vertex form quadratic. Now we got to throw a little bit of a curveball in here. Y minus k squared equals r squared. Now this equation and this equation are really identical. They're just different forms, just like standard form, vertex form, and intercept form. We've got a general form of a circle and standard form of a circle. The great part about this form is it tells us right in the equation what the center and the radius is. The center is at, you might guess this already, it's at h, comma, k. Now, here's one thing you got to remember compared to parabolas. Flip both signs. When you're dealing with circles, both the h and the k signs get flipped. When you're dealing with parabolas, the h gets flipped, the k is kept. In this case, since h shows up as negative h and k shows up as negative k in our standard form, both of these signs get flipped to find the center. And then the radius is really easy to find. The radius is the value of r. So here's our radius, and h and k give us the center. The trick's going to be in this unit is to how to change the general form to standard form so we can identify where the circle is and graph it.